It's a great day, sports world. It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics out there? This is Larry Patterson with GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports, right here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. Been a minute, but now we back. And we're never too late to give you draft coverage. I mean, it's the off season, so got a lot to get into. We're gonna cover the AFC and the NFC East draft picks today. Got my guy Mon here with me as usual. Brother, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. It's been a minute, man. Life's been hectic for both of us. We tried to get to you a little earlier, but other duties call, and you got to make things happen. So, but nevertheless, we're back. We're gonna go over the NFC and AFC East today, give a little perspective, and yeah, man, this should be an interesting conversation.
Yes, as we're going through each division's draft picks, this is the East that we're covering through both AFC East, NFC East. We're gonna tackle this thing. Let's get started, man. Going to the Buffalo Bills first, and I believe they traded like 3 times out of their original spot, which was 20. What were they? 29th? What were they? 28th? Something like that.
Something like that. They were like 27, 28.
Yeah, so I know we picked 30th, and then we had the 30th pick, traded that. So I think they were like 27, 28.
Yeah.
And then they traded like 3 times back into the second. So their 35th overall pick was their actual first pick in the second round. They took defensive end TJ Parker out of Clemson in the second round. Pick 62, they took cornerback Davison. I had his name.
Davison Igbinosun.
That's you my guy on that part right there. From Ohio State. Fourth round, pick 102, offensive tackle Jude Bowery out of Boston College. Fourth round, pick 125, wide receiver Skylar Bell out of Connecticut. In the fourth round, pick 126, linebacker Caleb Elarms or out of TCU. In the fifth round, they had 2 fifth-round picks, 167, safety Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina. Also in the fifth round, pick 181, defensive tackle Zane Durant out of Penn State. And 3 seventh-round picks at 220, Torino Pride Jr. out of Missouri, punter Tommy Domain Jr. out of Florida, and pick 241, Armaj Reed Adams out of Texas A&M. Damn, I can't read. But the TJ Parker pick was interesting because a receiver that got picked later on in the round and Denzel Boston was right there, and I felt like the Bills could have used him. But they went depth here with TJ Parker for their first pick. So my question to you is, they went heavy. They went defense heavy in this draft. Did you think they went the right strategy here?
Was it the right strategy? I want to say yes. And the reason why I agree with them going defense, because they know they traded for DJ Moore early in the offseason. So he's a number 2. He's a high number 2, low end number 1 receiver for you. And we're seeing the success that he had with Chicago last year when he was on the field with them. But ultimately their room was a little heavy with Luther Burden, Rome, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland. And it was just, hey, somebody had to be I'm missing a name out that wide receiver room, but somebody had to be the odd man out in Chicago, and I think Buffalo swooping in and getting them for what they got them for. I think that'll be definitely a big help for Shakir and Kincaid and Knox and those guys. Hopefully, he can mentor Keon Coleman to get him back on the right foot. Because the Bills drafted him in the second round a couple of drafts ago, so instead I hopes for him. But as far as this draft here, they went defense. They got Skylar Bell in the 4th round. TJ Parker is an interesting one to me. I do like the pick. Um, Only because there's no expectations for TJ Parker to be a rotational pass rusher his first year. And you kind of, I think they want to slowly guide him to being that number one, edge one, opposite of, edge two, maybe opposite of Gregory Rousseau. They signed, what's my guy named Bradley Chubb from
Bradley
the,
Chubb, yeah.
they signed him in the offseason from Miami on a 3-year deal. So you'll probably get 2 years out of Chubb and, have TJ Parker be a rotational piece behind Chubb. And then probably after year 2, you cut bait with Chubb and you stick TJ Parker to be that full time edge alongside Gregory Rousseau, whoever that may be. So I do like that TJ Parker pick. There was a couple more options on the board. R. Mason Thomas was available, and Cassius Howell was available as well. So it's kind of like a pick your poison. What type of pass rusher you like? You like the fastball, but TJ Parker's good against the run as well, and that's I think Buffalo struggled with that, having my boy from Kentucky, Deion Walker in the middle, and Ed Oliver as well, and they still needed some help on with the run game. So I think drafting T.J. Parker to eventually be the heir apparent to the Chubb or either Rousseau was a good look. I like David Igbenogany, and I don't know if I would have drafted him in the 2nd round, maybe in the 3rd or 4th. He gets a little handsy at time. Outside on the boundary, he's a boundary corner. I didn't see too much from him in the slot, but I know of what I did see of him. He can get a little handsy. So if he can clean that up on the NFL level, I think that'll be a steal, for your cornerback room. And then I'm going to pick the round 5 picks, 167 and 181 with Jalen Kilgore and Zane Durant. I watched a little bit of Zane Durant at Penn State last year when they had Abdul Carter, and he popped off the screen to me a little bit, so he can give you a little juice off the edge and in the inside. And then Jalen Kilgore, everybody's trying to find that Emmanuel McNeil Warren, that what's my guy from Seattle last year? Nick Eamon Ward type guy. Nick Eamon Ward type guy. So I think Jalen Kilgore can play that role for them, because the league is so funny. It's such a copycat league, man. You see Seattle have success with Nick Eamon Ward playing in the box and playing a little bit of coverage, and the league wants to say, that's a winning formula. Or that's something that can give you some mismatch opportunities. So let's shift to that. So those are a couple of the picks that stand out to me for this Bills draft. And, I've never, taken the punter in the 7th round. You might have something there. And then anybody else? Sky, I spoke a little bit about Skylar Bell. He's a sleeper wide receiver. So to get him in the 4th at 125, hey, that's like throwing Dart at the board, and you can add him to the room with DJ Moore, and hopefully you have something like that can put on the field quick, fast, and hurry for this wide receiver core.
I always said that Josh Allen needs like that tall 6'4", 6'5" type of receiver that can go up and get it.
Right.
And by them going Skylar Bell, I'm not mad at the pick, but you also have another 6-foot receiver in Khalil Shakir, who, I mean, basically kind of remind me of the same receiver.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just kind of mad that they didn't go my guy Boston right there, but that's another weapon for Allen. The Parker pick, I agree with you. I think in the long run, whatever he'll become, and I'm thinking maybe his ceiling could be rotational pass rusher.
You think his ceiling is a rotational pass rusher or a full-time edge? I think he can be a full-time edge with with a little time in the league, and I can see them, hey Chubb, we got you here for 2 years. Because I think Chubb's contract is only 2 years.
Yeah, it's 2 years.
2 years. I think it's like 3, but they can probably get out after 2 with like $27 million guaranteed. So they can get out that easy. And I think by that time, TJ Parker will have the NFL game, the routine, the frame, the wherewithal to be a full-time edge. So you think he's a rotational pass rusher for them? Because they're still looking for that number one guy. And right now they have Gregory Rousseau as their number one pass rusher. Is that enough to get you over the hump? Probably not. They say they came close last year, getting to the AFC divisional, but I think they still need a little more juice and a little more, a little more power off the edge. So I could see TJ Parker playing as a full-time pass rusher in the next year or so. If he plays well this year, I can see them saying, "Hey, Bradley Chubb, thank you for your 1 year service, but we're gonna cut ties and we're gonna roll with the new guy."
And I can see that as well, because Bradley Chubb, he's not prone to be playing 17 games a whole full schedule. So
Yeah.
TJ could come in there and just take advantage of those reps and become that full time pass rusher. So I mean, yeah, you never know.
Yep.
The Zane Durant pick in the 5th round was interesting. The Tommy Domain Jr. One thing Florida does do is they produce good special teamers, punters and kickers. They seem to get those guys drafted. The Jalen Kilgore pick at safety. Eventually, they had Cole Bishop.
Bishop. Yep.
Yeah, I want to say, what is he drafted, like last year or year before?
Year before last, I want to say.
Yeah, so you get you another guy there. Overall, how would you? And then with Drew Bowery, I mean, you get him, and who knows what he could become. As far as down the line, so you get a value out of him in the 4th. So, what do you think? How do you think overall about this?
Well, I mean, like I said at the start with TJ Parker, David Igmanosin, if they can clean some things up, because we know TJ Parker had a great 2024 season on tape, tailed off a little bit on 2025. It wasn't the best showing, but if you go back to the 2024 TJ Parker, that's where you see the best version of him. And like I said, defense was this draft class for Brandon Bean. They moved into a new stadium. They're kicking off on Thursday night, I believe, versus the Lions. We got some league schedules that came out. I think week 2, they're kicking it off on Thursday Night Football at home to show their new stadium off. So I think they want to, bring some of their pride back on the defense side of the ball. We all know you got Superman that wears number 17 that can make anything happen, but we got to help him out a little bit. Give him more cracks at the ball that turn the ball over for the offensive unit. And yeah, man, maybe they can, on a turnover here there in that Denver game, we might have a different team playing in the AFC Championship. So yeah, man, the theme of this draft is defense, and I like it, man. You want to attack the spots where you were, where you were kind of lacking and suffering at, and that's exactly what they did. The trenches and in the secondary for sure.
Sometimes it's not all about the need. Sometimes it's about needs and down the line as well. So
yeah, man, you got to identify where your team struggled, man. You got to draft. You got to draft for now. You got to draft for the future as well. And I think they did a good job of drafting for now and for the future with, TJ Parker giving you some spare rotational minutes right now. See what you can get out David Igwinosin. See what you can get out Kilgore. He's going to play a huge role in that secondary. Because remember, you traded Teron Johnson to Vegas for a 7th-round pick. So, Igwinosin might slide into that spot. So who knows, man? We'll definitely see what the Bills continue to do in the offseason and when we kick up to OTAs and training camp here soon.
By the way, 3rd straight year, the Bills had 9 or more draft picks. So one spot that they're really showing up is that edge rushing, the defensive line, and in that secondary, they're definitely showing up the depth there. So,
yep.
You got any more for Buffalo?
No, I just want to preface this, and I think we said this when we talked about our first round of divisions. People like to give letter grades out for classes, and that's all fine and dandy. I'm not a big letter grade guy because it's kind of hard for for rookies to come into the league to make impacts right away. Not unless you're Carson Schlesinger, to come in and win Defensive Rookie of the Year out of nowhere. It takes time to get acclimated to the NFL game, and I think hey, we'll look back and grade this class maybe in 3 years and see who makes who made a step up and made an impact and who's kind of like still by the wayside, just milling around the roster. So I say all these draft classes, give Give them 2 to 3 years to get their bearings in the league, and then we'll see the real prospect that they really are when they got drafted in 2026, probably in 2028, 2029.
Excellent point. Ready to go on to the next one? So we're going to go New York Jets.
Whew.
But they had a pretty excellent draft here. First round, they took David Bailey, arguably the best pass rusher in the draft from Texas Tech. 3 first-round picks. So in 16, they took Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon, which was a little bit of a surprise, but I understood it. And then they came back in the first round and picked 30 and took Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana. Second round, pick 50, cornerback D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana. Some people say it could be the second best corner in this draft. Since your guy had the injury, Jamal McCoy, but outside of him, a lot of people were putting this guy as the second corner. In the fourth round, pick 103, defensive tackle Darrell Jackson Jr. out of Florida State. He's got a crazy wingspan. I want to say it was like over 7 feet wingspan.
Ignorant boy.
In the fourth round, pick 110, quarterback Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. Got some things to talk about with that one right there. In the sixth round, pick 188, offensive guard Inez Cooper out of Miami. And then seventh round, pick 228, safety VJ Payne out of Kansas State. As I told you prior to the final draft, that the David Bailey and Will McDonald combination could be something to watch there. Just gonna have to see. And then with the Kenyon Sadiq one, who was my guy? The tight end that they took last year,
Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor. I was about to say Thomas, but Mason Taylor that they took last year, and I'm like, you picked him up last year. Now, if I got Sadiq there, that wouldn't stop me from taking him. I thought they did the right thing there. And then circling back, you picking Omar Cooper to pair with Garrett Wilson and a couple other receivers. Then D'Angelo Pons. That's going to be an interesting one. And you already got a former cornerback in Aaron Glenn that can teach him the ropes. Darrell Jackson, you add him to that defensive line. Who was that defensive lineman that got traded from the Titans?
Sweat.
Yeah, T'Vondre Sweat. So, he's there as well. The Cade Klubnik one right here. And I want your opinion on this one, too. Now, I know right now that's not even the question. You know who's the guy in Geno. But say Cade goes in there and lights it up in preseason. What's your thought?
So, and I heard this from Lance Zierlein and Bucky Brooks. I heard like a couple weeks ago, and I kind of believe if you draft a quarterback, there's diamonds in the roughs, right? We know you got your Dak Prescotts, we got your Tom Brady's, we got your who else got drafted, late? Your Montanas, you find in the later rounds. But I think Klubnik, I don't know if he sees playing time this year. It depends on how Geno plays, and I think they've set Geno. I will say this about. I'm gonna say this. Start this off. Let me restart this. Let me start over. I think Geno's supporting cast this year with this draft class is a lot better than what he had last year going in with Vegas his first year. Then you got Garrett Wilson. You got Adnan Mitchell that got traded over from the Colts. You got Breece Hall on the new 3-year 45. You got Mason Taylor already. And then you add Omar Cooper, Kenyon Sadiq to that. And then you give him a number 1 pass rusher, David Bailey. I think this situation is a lot different from Vegas's last year. And I think Geno has a number 1, which we didn't have in Vegas last year. Brock Bowers was number 1. I think he has more to work with than he had starting off in Vegas. So with that being said, I think he plays a little better this year than he did last year because everything was new with Chip Kelly, new coordinator, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know how much Klubnik sees the field, but if Klubnik can show something in the 4th round, coming out the 4th round, to this coaching staff, whether it just be a great in the classroom, making plays when the preseason. And if a number is called during the regular season, maybe in mop up duty when they're probably losing or blowing somebody out, he can put good reps on tape. Going into 2027 that you armed with 3 first-round picks. And we all know the usual
Now,
suspect. Dante Moore, the Arch Mannings, the Drew Mestamakers, the Julian Sands. I've been saying we can say the names on and on, but if Klubnik shows something going into 2027, you have a damn good backup. If worst case scenario, you have a damn good backup to what you're going to eventually draft, because you're not taking those 3 first-round picks and doing God knows what with them without getting a quarterback. You can do whatever you want to do. You pretty much control the draft going next year. So if Klubnik can come in and show plus stuff on film, at the very least, you have a good NFL backup for a long time. And then eventually, hey, teams get desperate in camp. Hey, let me you draft Klubnik in the 4th. Hey, let me give you a 3 for him to see if he can, what we see on tape, can he help our franchise? So that's the way I look at Klubnik. Like, he had all the talent in the world coming out of Clemson. We know he was projected to be a top. If you go back a year around this time before college ball started, he was in some people's first round mocks, top 10 with Drew Aller and Garrett Nussmeier. He was up the north side. He was all up there with them. But as time went on and his play kind of went razzle dazzle, he kind of getting slotted, drafted away. I think he was ultimately deserved to be slotted. But worst case scenario, you have a damn good backup for the next 8-9 years, and that's okay. That's okay being a backup. There's no shame in that. So that's the way I look at Cade Klubnik in this draft class, but in this draft haul for the Jets. But to go back to, David Bailey at 2, Sadiq at 16, and getting Omar Cooper at 30, I want to say they traded back into the first round. I thought that was the Jets probably had one of my top 5 draft classes, along with the Browns, Raiders, probably the Colts. When we get to them, that probably was another one of my favorite draft classes. So yeah, man, I think you're building a foundation for who comes in next year as the guy. You're gonna have Wilson at your disposal. You're gonna have Mason Taylor. You're gonna have Sadiq. You're gonna have Omar Cooper. You're gonna have A.D. Mitchell. You're gonna have a healthy Brees Hall, and the other running back too out of Wisconsin. They got that hurt his neck. Braylon Allen. So hey, man, you coming in with some, you ain't coming in with, chumps, what I'm saying? You coming in with some legit talent that's going to be on the field. So I like the way Aaron Glenn and Muji, drafted this year to set themselves up for the future. And let's just say, hey, you got 3 first-round picks next year, and I know that's, you'd be crazy. You would have been crazy to trade 2027 picks. So that's why we're not gonna talk about that team. We get to the AFC North when we get there. You would have been crazy to trade 2027 picks to get into 2026, because let's say the Jets do struggle and they do pick in the top 5 again. You can get your quarterback, all right? You're going to get your quarterback for sure. That's guaranteed. You still got 2 first-round picks. Hey, let's get the best offensive player out there. You can package 2, go up and get Jeremiah Smith, and imagine dropping Jeremiah Smith with Garrett Wilson and Kenyon Sadiq and them boys next year, if you really want to. That's the flexibility that the Jets have put themselves in a position to have next year. If they win 3 or 4 games, they have a top. Imagine coming out next year with Arch Manning, Jeremiah Smith, with the Colts pick if they have a bad season, and then let's say you come up with another defensive player along with what you had this year and what you drafted last year. Hey, man, that's a win-win for the Jets. So, man, I think this class right here, it's a foundational class if you ask me.
Not bad. And don't forget, back-to-back years they took Armand Bimbo, Olu Fashanu, and then
Armand Mbembu last year at 7. Exactly.
Yeah.
So your offensive line is set. Yeah, man.
And as we talk about teams like Dallas, back in the day when we always talk about sexy pick. and offensive lineman. You taking the offensive lineman first round. It's like, but you look 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah, and you wonder why Dak Prescott's the second team All Pro, third in the MVP race, throwing for X amount of touchdowns, and you wonder why. It's like, okay, and you look at their roster, you got Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, um, Zach Martin, and you like, okay,
Like that's why
that's
little
why.
little details like that. You look at you look at the team down the road. You're like, wow. Sometimes you may have to sacrifice that first pick. It's not sexy,
Yep,
but hey, you look at down the road. It's going to be the foundation of it.
yep. Like it took Tyler Booker last year. They might think that was the sexiest thing in the world, but hey, you look at Tyler. You can imagine what Tyler Booker going to be like 2-3 years from now. So imagine you going from Zach Martin, was an All Pro, since day one getting into the league, and then you just transitioning to Tyler Booker, that's a first round pick out of Alabama. So the sexy stuff it gets overlooked when you sit in the middle of the draft round pick 15, 16, 17. You be like, oh, you don't seen the Mendozas go, you don't seen the Baines go, and then the Cowboys order somebody pick Tyler Booker, and you're like, okay, they took a guard, and then you look back 3-4 years later while your team's struggling to keep your quarterback healthy, look back, Dallas and took Tyler Booker, and he's the best guard in the league. And you wonder why Dak Prescott is having the success he's have throwing the ball to CD and George Pickens. It's like stuff like that adds up. We don't really think about it because we're worried about the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, edge, corner, not the offensive tackle, offensive guard, center. We don't think about stuff like that because it doesn't pop out on the screen to us. It don't put points on the board, so we really don't celebrate like we should. And I think for me and you, we had this conversation off screen that we should start paying attention to more of these teams taking guards, like the Ravens take Iona here at pick 14. He's gonna be an All Pro in about 2-3 years, and people gonna be like, "Damn, how did we let him slip to 14?" Stuff like that.
Yeah,
But that's here nor there though. So
yeah. The a question I'm gonna ask you. Uh, I'm not sure about the Geno thing, and you know about Geno, just
sure,
from the year that you had. Is is there a chance that, and I'm not putting the Jets in a 6-7 win window, even though you never know what could happen. But if Geno can turn the clock back at least to Seattle years, then you have a young Kenyon Sadiq, and then you have a Garrett Wilson. Oh, and then you have an Omar Cooper, who some were comparing to Debo. Uh,
yeah.
what do you see out of this Jets offense if everything goes, how we pictured it right now?
I think Gino he has the ability to put up some decent numbers. Once again, our state this, hey, the Jets offensive line is way better this year than the Vegas offensive line was last year because we started a couple of rookies and some young guys. So the continuity wasn't really there. So I think with Mimbu and Fashanu being bookends and Brees Hall being able to run the ball, he should be free now. He got his bag, as the kids say. So he needs to go out there and play football now. So I think a couple, play action will definitely open up some things across the middle for Mason, Sadiq. And you're gonna see Sadiq flexed out in the as X, Y, and Z. He definitely gonna play the Y tight end. He's gonna definitely be on the boundary for sure. They're gonna move him all around because he's so gifted. He's a freak athlete. You can do so much stuff with him. So I think he's gonna be a whole lot better. If he do struggle, it's gonna be mentally for Gino because he's back in New York again, where his career first started. And we know how that turned out for him the first time. Everybody wanted to get his ass out of town quick. So that's the only reason why I see Gino struggling. Other than that, I expect him to put up decent numbers. Jets being some games, they're gonna be a tough team. I expect Bailey, and when we get to this portion of the cycle, I expect him to be in the running for defensive rookie of the year, only because yeah, when we get to there, he'll be in my top three for me. But yeah, I see Gino doing well, better than he did in Vegas last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see them going 6 or 7 wins, but if it did happen, it wouldn't surprise me. I could see them winning maybe 4 or 5 games, but they being very competitive.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. But Jets fans, they don't want to see 6 and 7 wins because if you
Oh
know you know you
yeah.
win 6 or 7 wins, six or 7 wins, you're probably looking at pick 7, 8, 9. No, well, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, pick 5, 6, 7, and that might get you out of the range of Arch, Dante. So I know Jets fan is like, you know what? Because you got Miami and Cleveland ask questions as well. So
Sure, but sure. But even with like 4 or 5 quarterbacks coming out, that's enough to kind of like.
it is.
Even if you're in the top 10 window, you can still get a premium guy.
It is. It is, but the Jets fans gonna either want 2 guys. And if they're not in their range to get those 2 guys, what are we doing? I feel like it'll be a failure for the Jets next offseason for their fans if they're not in striking range for Archer, either Dante Moore. Just imagine you do all of this, right? You do all this tanking. You trade Quentin Williams, you trade Sauce Gardner for first, you trade all of that. And then you end up not getting one of the top 2 quarterbacks, right? It'll be like a disappointment to them. In my opinion, I could be wrong. There may be a QB3 that comes out of nowhere, like Mendoza did this year, that could keep the Jets fans intrigued. But I just feel like personally, like we know how fans think, we know how the media think, we know how the NFL thinks and goes. They're gonna want to see Arch in New York because you can market Arch in New York. You know what I mean? So that's what they want to do, or want to be in that ballpark for Arch or Dante. And it'd be quite funny if they end up with Dante again next year, just a year later. You could have took him if he had came out, you would have took him at 2, but he didn't come out. You finished in the top 3. You take him at 3 this year. I don't know, man. It's weird, man. But I like to see the Jets in the range to get Arch or Moore or somebody of that caliber next year.
Would it have made? This is my question to you. Would it have made sense, or did the Jets screw themselves by not trading Breece Hall? Just to get that capital.
It all depends on what you would have gotten in return. If you would have got a second, sure, you do that. But I'm pretty sure people will offer you 3s and 4s because we knew he was unhappy for a minute. He wanted to go. They was playing with his money. If you would have got a second, sure. 3rd, definitely for sure. 4th, nah, probably not. The market, I guess the trade market wasn't as favorable for the Jets as that like they thought they were because everybody and mama thought Kansas City was gonna jump on it. Mm-hmm. It made the most sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, they stood pat and they signed my boy, the Super Bowl MVP from the Seattle Seahawks. So yeah, man, that's enough for the Jets today. That's how the Jets got a promising future, man. They got the brightest future in the league to me if everything goes right and they take care of business like they have been doing off the field and start taking care of business on the field. They're going to be all right.
If you're a Jets fan, tell us how you feel in the comments about your team.
Trust me, I've been there the last 19 years, so I know exactly what you mean. Once you get that guy in the building, your outlook on everything changes, and you can understand that. Y'all was in QB purgatory for a little bit until you got Bo Nixon, and then everything took a little change for the better.
Boy, it took a little time.
I mean, his legs messed up right now, but hey.
He'll be all right. Going to the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, God.
Dolphins, man, Miami Dolphins had a hell of a draft here. Going in the first round, they had 2 picks in the first round. Pick 12, they took Caden Proctor. I'd love to get your perspective on that one. Offensive tackle out of Alabama. And then back in the 27th, they moved up. Took cornerback Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. I don't know what's going on with me today. But a promising cornerback, a lot of good things about. Jacob Rodriguez, 2nd round pick 43 out of Texas Tech. A lot of people like that one. I like it too myself. 3rd round pick 75, wide receiver Caleb Douglas out of Texas Tech. 3rd round pick 87, tight end Will Kekmerich out of Ohio State. third round pick 94. Chris Bell, your boy, wide
Mm-hmm.
out of Louisville, and 2 fourth round picks at 130. Linebacker Trey Moore out of Texas, and then pick 138. Linebacker Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. Man,
How he fall to the fourth?
wow.
Wow.
Got to get your perspective on that one too. In the 3 fifth round picks, 158 safety Michael Taft out of Texas, 177 wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. out of Missouri, tight end Sadud Traore. I looked at his film the other day, and the way that they pronounce his name, I had it down pat. But he had a Mississippi State pick 180. Picked 206th round. They took offensive guard DJ Campbell out of Texas. And in the 7th round, picked 238, defensive end Max
Llewellyn.
out of
Yep, we got it.
Iowa. The Caden Proctor pick, you know for yourself some of the things that you've been hearing about, is he committed enough, at the position at the offensive tackle, is he going to give it his all? Was that the right decision to go with him for their first pick, even though they needed it? Because in this draft, it's either swing or miss. But what's your thoughts on that one?
Well, for me, I probably wouldn't have went Caden Proctor as my first pick. If I could have traded down and got him, sure. But we know that I'm about to get long-winded here for this, or maybe not. But we know they released Tyreek Hill. They got money tied up in Tyreek Hill. They got money tied up in Tua, which is no longer on the roster. And they traded Minkah Fitzpatrick back to Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's three Pro Bowls, all Pro players. Somewhere. He went somewhere.
To the Jets, I think.
How about to the Jets? He went back to the Jets. Yeah. So that's 3, Pro Bowl players that you have on your roster that's dead money tied up in. The theme of this Miami draft is, hey, let's get good players in the building, because we know we don't have a whole lot of cap space to work with. We're gonna be in cap hell for the next 2-3 years till we get out of it. You should know, coming from the Russell Wilson deal, y'all just get out of that last year?
Last year.
Yeah, y'all just getting out of that.
Yeah,
so y'all just getting out that. So, you want to draft and get players, get them for cheap, because you don't have no money you don't have the money to go out there to attract a big name free agent to come to Miami on a big contract. But back to your question, I probably would have went the guard out of Penn State, Vega Ione, first, because you need all pro talent on your roster. Not saying that Caden Proctor can't get there. Eventually, in due time, he will, with football habits, whatever the Miami has in store for him to get him to be OT1 for them. I would probably went Vega Ione first, because I know he has all pro potential. He will be an all pro, so you need that talent in the building. But I'm not upset at Caden Proctor, though. I would like to get them. I would have liked to see Miami get him a little lower, maybe in a trade down, maybe like around 16, 17, instead of in the top 15. That's my only kickback with that. But Chris Johnson, I do like that. That corner spot out of San Diego State. He came on late in the process. Run fast, can cover. And then if you can pull that graphic back up to me one more time, right here in second, third round, you got Jacob Rodriguez, and we've been talking about Jacob Rodriguez for a while now, probably since February, how he's just a ball magnet. And he can just take the ball away. He had 8 forced fumbles on the season last year. And you get Chris Bell in the 3rd round. We did say they need to go receiver, but to get Chris Bell at pick 94 in the 3rd round, I thought he'd be a 2nd round receiver coming off of ACL. That's plus value for me. And then you get my boy Kyle Lewis. Listen, with the league going to this light linebacker, 225, 235, the way he moves and covering space, I thought he'll be a little more coveted and touted in the draft process. I thought I seen 2nd round for him, 3rd round maybe, but to get to the 4th and you take him, you're just taking good football players at this point. And then to get Michael Taft out of Texas, he's a good hidden safety as well, to play in your back end. So you just you're replenishing talent for the cheap, and which Miami do need. But if the 2 first-round picks and Rodriguez could be the foundation of your draft, and then you could probably hit Chris Bale and Kyle Lewis to pop. If you can get maybe 5 of those players to hit out of this draft, I think this will be a successful draft. And even at pick 7, Max Llewellyn, the defensive end out of Iowa, he has a little something to him as well. So I really like what the Miami Dolphins did, compared to what some people think. Dolphins fans, they didn't like the Caden Proctor pick, but I understand it because that's a talented young man right there. He's 6'7", 330, 6'8", 330. Plus, if you get down to about 320, 325, you got yourself one there, and that'll be one position that you wouldn't have to worry about going into the draft. Hey man, do we have our cornerstone left tackle for whoever we bring as quarterback? So I like this Dolphins draft. They picked a whole lot, which they needed to. They needed an influx of talent, young, youthful talent. It's going to be tough, playing all them rookies. It's going to be a transitional period, so I don't expect much in the win column for them this year. But hey, we know you in cap hell right now. You just gotta, just do what you can until you get out of cap hell, and then maybe you can they can be in one of these spots for Arch or Dante Moore next year, and that'll be a good look for them.
2 things. When you talked about Denver, us getting out of that situation, a lot of teams are starting to do that trend where they're cutting away from guys' contracts that are not working out. So I had to bring that up.
1,000%, yeah, for sure.
And that's crazy how you invested so much into these what you feel like franchise changing players, and then it don't work out. And it's like, you know what? All right, let's go ahead and cut out of here. We'll eat the money, and let's just go ahead and continue to rebuild. Then turn around and you get what? 12 draft picks?
12. If you can get 5 of them to go, that's a good draft.
The first, if Caden Proctor can be developed right, that is a franchise staple pick right there, as well as Chris Johnson and the Jacob Rodriguez, and we already know about him. So those 3 alone are just franchise changing picks that staples that I felt Miami went through. And then with Chris Bell, like say he's healthy, like man, look what you got there.
Yeah, for sure. And to make before we move on, make a comment about the quarterbacks. Back 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't see the league doing this, signing guys to big contracts and getting rid of them, because now the rookie pay scale has changed. So every rookie that comes in the league, they have a slotted automatically. Mendoza only making $54 million total. Remember back when Sam Bradford got drafted in 2014, he had $50 million coming in guaranteed when he put his pen that pen to paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's easier to say, hey, you know what? I'll eat this dead money, $30 million, $60 million for 1 year, 2 years. You can spread it out however you want to. But I know this rookie I bring in, he's on a cheaper contract. We could be able to afford him. So let's just throw darts at the board. It's almost better now to, if you don't have a quarterback. Thank God we got one now. But if you don't have a quarterback, it's the draft. Oh yeah, we ain't hope for losers. We ain't hoping for this one. We know this the real deal. Hope for losers. But it's easier to almost, if you don't have a quarterback, let's say the Dolphins or the Jets, draft one every other year until you get it right. Because there's no harm in drafting a quarterback until you get it right. You draft Arch next year. If you're the Dolphins, go a year, then draft another quarterback in 2020, 2020, 2029, because you just don't know. So, and then, like I said, once again, in the Cade Klubnik situation, back to the Jets, if you find out you got a damn good backup that's a potential starter, teams are going to get desperate and want to trade for Cade Klubnik or whoever the case may be, because that's the most valuable position in all of NFL sport and all in the NFL is the quarterback. So once you feel like you have that guy in the building, everything else becomes, hey, let's fix the problem. So, but you don't, if you don't have that guy in the building, and I just got over it. If you don't have that number one guy to call the game, then you don't have anything for sure.
Kyle Lewis also, before we move on, I feel like in the long run, if he's with the team, which I'm sure he will be. That's your tight end and your running back eraser right there.
I don't know how he fell to the fourth round. That is
How?
beyond me. Because
How?
we seen him at the All-Star game. He was like, "Yo, who is this?" And he was up. I don't know, but hey, man, the league felt a certain way about it, man. I ain't mad at him, but Dolphins got a real one for sure.
Moving on to the New England Patriots. First round, they picked 28. They took offensive tackle Caleb Lomu out of Utah. Second round, pick 55, defensive end Gabe Jacobs out of Illinois. In the third round, pick 95, tight end Eli Raridan out of Notre Dame. Um, Notre Dame got some good tight ends, don't
Boy, who tight end you, boy?
they? Fifth round, pick 171, cornerback Karan Prunty
Prunty. Yeah, you got me on that one.
out of Wake Forest. Man, I got you there. In the sixth round, they had two picks. Pick 196, offensive tackle Demetrius Crownover out of Texas A&M, and 212 linebacker Namdi Obiazor.
Yeah, you got me on that one too.
Man, I'm surprised you usually hit on this one right here.
Yeah.
Out of TCU in the seventh round, they had 3 draft picks at 234. Quarterback Bryn Morton out of Texas Tech, 245. Running back Jam Miller out of Alabama. I was impressed with him. And pick 247, defensive end Quintavious Hutchins out of Boston College. I had to get your thoughts on that offensive tackle right there, because they took a Will Campbell last year,
Mm-hmm.
and we see how that went in the Super Bowl. So I can understand the first pick right there. Second pick, you go back around to get you some defensive line, edge rusher, get some depth there. Even though Jacobs could be in a position to start as well. Raritan, I'm not sure if one of those tight ends left. I think Hunter Henry's still there, but the Austin Hooper, I think he left. So take Hooper out, put him there. Not saying that he's certainly starting, but who knows what that potential right there. How you feel about the Patriots draft here?
The Caleb Lomu, I like the pick, and it's not even because of what happened to Will Campbell in the Super Bowl. I mean, it happens, right? Like you get overwhelmed. He was dealing with injuries last year, so that, and then the Super Bowl, that kind of made it look like it was crazy for Will Campbell. But he's a good tackle. He'll be fine. But the tackle was needed anyway because you got Morgan Moses on the right side. Now I don't know what Lomu's going to play. I don't know if they're going to move Will Campbell to right or move Will Campbell to left. I don't know what their plan is. But Lomu was needed for sure because my guy. What's my guy name? Morgan Moses, he's getting older up there, so you're going to have to change the guard anyway and get young on your offensive line. I think the Patriots started 2 rookies in the Super Bowl, so they got to get younger, keep Drake May up tight. And then Gabe Yackers in the second round. I thought that was a great pick to replace Caleb Von Chasson. You still got Harold Landry as well. I'm really excited about Gabe Yackers from Illinois. And then we're going to go down to Jam Miller. That's another one. That I was a little disappointed in Jam Miller coming out of Alabama. I thought he'd give you a lot more than what he gave. We know that the Alabama run game wasn't really there, so hopefully he can find some carries in the backfield with what's my boy Travion, and I don't know if Ramondre Stevenson. Hey, the clock's on Ramondre Stevenson. Can you be the guy behind Travion? So we'll definitely see. But yeah, man, the New England dressed the trenches as they should have. And you think about, you still got potential AJ Brown trade coming in post June 1. You still got my boy Williams that they drafted last year from Washington State. You got get younger at tight end because Hooper, he's probably gonna be gone. Or was it Hooper or Henry? One of the two.
Henry.
Henry, he's probably gonna be his last go round. So you get ahead of the curve to draft you a good tight end out of Notre Dame. So yeah, man, I like what the Patriots did for for them to get back to the Super Bowl. We know protection was a premium, was a number 1 on their list, and I think they took care of that need in round 1, and getting after the pass rusher as well was definitely a need. And they did a great job getting, like I said, 55. I thought he'd go a little lower, a little higher than that, but To get him at 55, that's a win.
I don't know if it's Yakis or it's Jakis.
It's Yakis, Gabe Yakis.
Okay, because I heard somewhere on the pod that they were debating that whether it was Yakis or Jakis, but also they did pick up Elijah Vera Tucker in the offseason, and then Romeo Dobbs as well.
Yeah, I forgot about the Romeo signing. Golly.
But then, of course, post June 1st, they'll have AJ, I'm sure. Maybe that's still in the works. But I do that the Lomu pick is going to be interesting. And maybe I don't know what their plans with Morgan Moses, whether they, have him stick around. Maybe Lomu could show enough to where he can just go ahead and slide right on in. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But the like you said about the Jan Miller pick right there, for him to fall all the way to the 7th, I thought was, I thought he maybe go a little sooner than that. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that running back room. Like as you said, Ramondre, he's getting older. So overall, I thought that, and then you take the cornerback out of Wake Forest to add to the secondary room. So overall, I think New England did what they did did what they had to do as far as developing down the road, and got a couple needs here and there.
Yep.
I think we're done with the AFC East. So we'll move on to the NFC East. And we're going to start with the Commanders here. They had 6 draft picks overall. First round, they took pick 7. They took Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. Third round, pick 71. They took wide receiver Antonio Williams out of Clemson. The 5th round, pick 147. Defensive end Joshua Josephs out of Tennessee. In the 6th round, pick 187. Running back Katron Allen out of Penn State. I think he had like over 1,200 yards, I want to say.
Yeah, the year before last, he was one of the ones.
Pick 209 in the 6th round, center Matt Goldman out of Michigan State. And in the 7th round, pick 223, quarterback Ethan.
Yep.
Man, I'm just going to go like that. I don't mean to disrespect his name, but out of Rutgers. And funny thing is, I've been here through the draft process. Sean Payton was one of those quarterbacks that he liked. He put it. We was going on the lookout to be drafting him. So, but hey, he found him a home in Washington in the 7th round. Did the Commanders do all they could do to help that young team out?
Yeah, so my initial thought was, hey, let's trade down. I would have liked to see the Commanders trade down from 7 to get more capital to recoup from the Lerman Tunsil trade a few years ago. I would have loved to see them redo that. But when Sonny Styles falls to you in your lap, it's kind of hard to tell Dan Quinn no. And then we know Adam Peters, he done seen his quote unquote Fred Warner in San Francisco. And then you see that and you're like, yeah, I can't pass that up, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at that. They didn't get, Antonio Williams at Clemson in the 2nd round. 3rd round, sorry, to give Jaden Daniels some help. We know Terry McLaurin's getting up there in age, so they still need to attack this wide receiver room as well. So I don't know if that's going to come, waiver wire, free agency, or whatever the case may be, but you still got to surround Jaden Daniels with talent. I still think tight end is a huge need for them. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was waiting till you finish.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You good.
Is there a chance that another team could enter the A.J. Brown sweepstakes?
1,000%.
Could it be this team?
I wouldn't rule it out, though. It depends on what the price is. I think Adam Peters is not desperate to where they won't give up a 1st-round pick.
And it's a rival too. So
right. So
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't see it happening here, But I mean, it could be some. I mean, you never know. The league is funny, The league if we know anything, right? If we look back at our time in covering the league or watching the league, what position get traded more than others?
Wide
Wide
receiver.
receiver, right? So anything's possible. What if Justin Jefferson get unhappy in Minnesota with Kyler Murray and my boy from Michigan? What if he won't out? So much can happen, bro. So like, what about Addison? What if what if they don't pick up, renew his, get him a new bag? So there's plenty of ways to get receivers, bro. You just got to be. First of all, number one, Jaden got to get healthy. He got to stop running around getting hit like a Looney Tunes cartoon character. Number one, and get back to being precise, throwing the ball down the field, getting into his playmakers. We know Terry got his contract and his, and he's on the, hitting his 30s now. So we already know how that goes, how the league thinks, receivers in their 30s hit. So, but yeah, man, I think, getting Antonio Williams in the third round would definitely give a little boost to this wide receiver room that desperately needed. And again, Joshua Joseph at pick 147, big guy. He need to fill out his frame a little more, but he can give you a little, give you a little, give you a little juice off, off the edge and get to the quarterback. And I like Katron Allen a little bit too. We all know we talked about Devin Singletary. I don't know if his name Devin Singletary for Penn State, but Katron Allen, he was the one B to Devin Singletary. I keep saying Nick Singleton. Sorry, he was the one B to Nick Singleton the last couple years at Penn State. But he's more of an inside guy that's gonna run over you, run between the tackle. So I like that as well to go along with the Commanders running back room. I think they do a running back by committee. They don't have an RB1 per se. Somebody's got to start out at RB1, but they always run by committee. So I do like that pick as well.
That training camp is gonna be interesting because Krosky Barrett,
Bill,
Rashad White, Jerome Ford, veterans, but then you also Katron Allen, who you add to that too. It's gonna be
Yeah, man, it's gonna be very interesting, man. Hopefully, when we get to training camp, we can get Miss Sewall on here to give her take on it and her expertise on the running back situation in that room and how she think it may shake out. Because you got some veteran Jerome Ford, he's been in Cleveland for a bunch of years. You got Bill that burst on the scene last year. You got Rashad White that did his thing down there in Tampa Bay, and then you add Katron Allen to the mix as well. So it'll definitely be a running back by committee. I know they lost Eckler last year, but he was hurt majority of the year. So, yeah, we'll definitely see how this is going to shake out for the Commanders. But I think, for them is getting back on track with Jaden Daniels, getting them healthy, getting them back to who he was in 2024, his rookie season when he took the league by storm, and get that team back to the NFC Championship where he got blown out by Philly, but nobody in the league saw that coming from the Commanders that year. So if we get back to Jaden Daniels being healthy, I think the Commanders will be fine and add step Cyborg and Sonny Styles to Dan Quinn's defense to help out that secondary, with Lattimore not being the same. You got Trey Amos, Mikey Sanders still, back there. So I think that'll be a big boost to that to the middle of that defense.
That wide receiver room with Terry McLaurin, and he missed a few games last year, I want to say. It was a couple games he missed. Other than that, Luke McCaffrey, just drafting Antonio Williams, De'Ami Brown, Treylon Burks, former first round pick, Jalen Lane, who was drafted last year, Jacoby Jones, Ja'Cory Brooks, and Van Jefferson. That receiving room does not scare me at all.
Need some work.
and that's why I say even Denver, we got all these receivers on our team. As much as I don't want to give any of them up because we're deep, but they could also be a destination for a team like Washington if they're willing to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done with everything.
So they have a 5 picks. I mean, we got to talk about. Shoot, they have a 5 one.
Yeah, it was 6.
They had 6.
Yeah. Not a lot to talk about.
I mean,
going on to let's go New York Giants.
Oh, here we go.
First round pick, 5th overall. After Cardell Tate was off the table, which I thought was a chance he could go there, but Titans took him. Arvell Reese. I I got my thoughts on that one. But I understand it. Out of Ohio State, then pick 10, Francis Mourinho out of Miami, CC, offensive tackle. Second round, pick 37, cornerback Colton Hood out of Tennessee. In the third round, pick 74, Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. That's going to be a sleeper right there.
Oh, yes.
And then they finish off with 3 6th-round picks at 186. Defensive tackle Bobby Jamison Travis out of Auburn. Offensive tackle J.C. Davis at pick 192 out of Illinois. And linebacker Jack Kelly out of BYU at pick 193. Reese, I wonder where they would have him. Is it going to be off ball, or is it going to be at the edge, or is it going to be both? Or is it going to be a situation where, like we see how Dallas used Micah Parsons, where he was off ball in his first season and then switched him to like just straight up edge rusher? Like to get your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, let me start off by saying this is a Harbaugh draft. Trenches.
For sure.
For sure. To answer your question about Reese, I think he starts off ball, and then on third down, he probably kick down to rush the passer with Carter, Thibodeau, Burns. I mean, they have so much they can do. It's ridiculous. It's gonna be super duper ridiculous. So if somebody's gonna be the all man out now, well, Dexter Lawrence got traded for the 10th overall pick, so is Thibodeau gonna be there? Because they still got Burns, Carter. What's my boy from Eastern? He went to one of them schools, ECU. I don't know where he went to. We'll pull it up in a second. The defensive tackle they drafted last year, he gets the productive minutes as well. So I think he starts off ball and then he kicks down to an edge rusher on third downs for sure. And to think about it, you get two top 7 players in the first round, bro. You get Reese and then you come back and get CC Mano at 10. And some CC Mano is some people's OT1. And he has positional flexibility. He could go play guard, he could play right tackle, and you get healthy what's my boy from on the other side? Andrew Thomas on the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah, you right. And get a healthy Cam Scatterboot coming back and a Tyrone Tracy. I would have loved them to see a dress running back as well. I don't know if Tyrone Tracy's enough. But hey, you got somebody to run behind now. Then you get Colton Hood that I liked in the first round to the Dolphins. I think I mocked in there a couple times to play some press man, whatever, and that's what Harbaugh likes to do. And then they get Malachi Fields to play opposite of Malik Nabers. I think that gives them the second weapon. He's going to be probably a day one starter for them. It's interesting to see. We haven't got to the Bucs yet, but when we get there, and I want you to write this down, Larry. Two guys I want you to two rookie wide receivers I want you to watch this year throughout camp and throughout the preseason is Ted Hurst in Tampa Bay and Malachi Fields and with the Giants. And tell me what you think about those two guys as the summer go on. But yeah, man, I think Harbaugh did, yes, 6'4". I think Harbaugh do what Harbaugh best, draft in the trenches and everything else to take care of. I know everybody wanted Caleb Downs or whatever the case may be, and rightfully so. But hey, you win. We all know in this league, you win games in the trenches. And I think him putting his stamp as the New York Giants head coaches. Hey, we're gonna dress to both sides of the ball, and then we're gonna move forward from there.
I thought they were gonna go Tate if he was still available, but if he was still available, I'm like, that's another weapon until Malik Nabers gets back if he's fortunate enough to start the season.
So here's my thinking, right? I think if Reese wasn't there at 5, they was going Jordan Tyson over Tate. But Tennessee popped it off, taking Tate. They kind of like, because we all thought if Reese didn't go to the Jets or the because it was the Jets or the Titans, right? I think those are two of the teams that we had mocked into. If he didn't go to one, he's going to the other. But when Jeremiah Love name got thrown into the mix, that kind of, in my mind, right, he was going to Tennessee at 4. Jeremiah Love was. So in my mind, I'm thinking Tennessee got spooked a little bit and was like, oh, we got to get a playmaker for Cam Ward. Who's the best wide receiver on our board? And Tate was their wide receiver 1. So that pushed Reese down, and that was like a no-brainer for the Giants to do that. But if Reese wasn't there, I swear it was Tate. You know, you sometimes you luck up on stuff, and you do mock draft simulators, but you just don't know. I think that Jeremy, because 1 and 2 was kind of okay. It's either Bailey, it was either Mendoza, Bailey, Reese. You know, it was kind of like this would have been the whole cycle. Yeah. But when the Jeremiah Love buzz got on, remember late into the process, that was like Jeremiah Love can go to Arizona. That kind of had to spook Tennessee. Hey, we need to get an offensive weapon for Cam Ward, because if Jeremiah Love didn't go at 3, he was definitely going to Tennessee at 4. You know what I mean? That's a fact. That's a fact. But I think it spooked the Titans to take Tate, and that's what made Reese slip to 5. And it was a no-brainer for the Giants, to pick him. But I feel like if Giants were picking at 5 and Reese was gone, Tyson was the guy definitely for sure. In my opinion, I could be wrong though. Like I'm always wrong, but whatever.
The wide receiver room, they did pick up Darnell Mooney, veteran player.
They lost Wan'Dale Robinson to the Titans.
Yep. Lost Wan'Dale Robinson. Also picked up Mooney and Calvin Austin. And they still have Darius Slayton. And they still have Jalen Hyatt, who's been misused since he's been in the league. So you going back in the 3rd round and you get Fields. And why I say like that could be a sleeper pick at 6'4". Dart, he's going to dart it down the field. I can see it. I can just see the big weapon just go up again. Just throw it up. Let me get it.
But at the same time, and I don't mean to cut you off, Dart got to understand to protect himself. That's why they drafted Mount Noah as well. Like, you got to protect Dart, but Dart got to learn, hey, you can't be out here running around like you playing Madden 05 with Vic on the cover, and you got the vision cone, and you think you can just run everywhere and throw the ball 70 yards in the field. That game was 5-2. Vic in 05 was terrible. But that's here nor there. But you got to protect him from himself as well, and give him receivers. So I mean, I understand the pick.
And if it doesn't work out with CC, because right now he's listed as right guard, but he can either switch between guard and tackle. So
either way it goes, you got positional flexibility to where if he don't work out at tackle, you can pop him in a guard, and you got an all-pro guard potential on your hands. So it's a win-win for the Giants, for real.
And it also helped out Isaiah Likely coming over from with Harbaugh over from
the pair with Theo Johnson. Hey, that's a 1-2 punch right there. Hey, yeah. Theo Johnson played good ball though.
Yeah, facts. What is the quarterback's best friend?
The tight end, always. Yeah. What did he have in? What did Harbaugh have in Baltimore? He had Likely, and Andrews. So hey,
one more question. Which does I think Thibodeau seems to be the odd guy out. Does he get traded?
Yeah, I think something will happen. Here. Probably camp. Because I feel like, I don't know if they picked up his 5th-year option or not. I'm not sure if they did or not, but I think something happens there. Yeah, somebody gonna need a pass rushing camp and probably get him away for like a 4th or something like that.
All right. We done with the Giants. Going to the Dallas Cowboys here.
Ooh, this is probably one of my favorites too, boy.
1st round pick at 12. They traded up 1. Did they trade up 1?
They traded down 1.
They traded down 1.
They traded down 1.
Yeah, 12.
They were picking 11. They swapped with Miami, and Miami came and got Proctor.
They were 11.
I think so.
Either way, one of them. But they took Caleb Downs, the best safety in the draft. Out of Ohio State at pick 12. Pick 23, they took Malachi Lawrence, defensive end out of UCF. In the third round, 92, defensive end Jayshon Barham out of Michigan. In the fourth round, they had three fourth round picks. At 112, offensive tackle Drew Shelton out of Penn State. Got to grab him offensive lineman, right?
Swell.
114, cornerback Devin Moore out of Florida. And pick 137, defensive end L.T. Overton out of Alabama. And in the seventh round, 218, wide receiver Anthony Smith out of East Carolina. Love what they did with the Caleb Downs. I think if anybody had one of the more accurate mock drafts, I don't know if we had him going to Dallas, but I know a lot of people probably had him going to Dallas.
Yes,
a lot of mock drafts.
I know Dallas fans had him going to Dallas. They were praying that he fall to 12. And the report came out with the degenerative knee. You know how the reports come out during week or two before draft day. And I don't know if that, they got more information than we'll ever have. So they probably knew about this a long time ago. And, positional value, quote unquote, in the league, say you don't take a safety in the top 10. But I felt like Downs was deserving of getting taken in the top 10. For the Cowboys to, get him at 12, that's a steal, in my opinion, a super steal. And then to get Malachi Lawrence to give you some juice opposite of Rashawn Gary, I thought that was a good. They traded down for 20 to 23. They swapped with the Eagles and got Malachi Lawrence. So doing business with your in division rival, it's kind of unique. This is the second time they done that. The first time they done that, they end up picking who, Larry? Because y'all picked Surtain that same draft.
Michael.
Yep. The last time the Cowboys and Eagles did a trade, Michael Parsons was the Cowboy. Yeah. So that's the second time they did it. So hopefully some good fortune comes the time around for the Eagles where Mekhi Lemon becomes that Michael Parsons of that trade from 4, 5, 6 years ago. However long ago it was. They get Jayshon Barham at defensive end. He could play a little off-ball linebacker as well. Don't be surprised if he don't push Overshown out of for some snaps as well because Overshown can't stay healthy, so he's gonna be on the edge. He's gonna play some off ball in the earlier mini camp. I mean not mini camp, but rookie mini camp clips. He's playing some off ball and on the edge as well. So I do like Jayshon Barham a little bit. He's a bully in the run game. Of course, I watch him because I'm a big Michigan fan, so I see a little bit more of him than anybody else. And to get LT Overton at 137, he's a 4-3 defensive end or 3-4 defensive end. I want to say he can stop the run, but he don't have enough pass rush juice. So I thought he was in some mock drafts last year in the first round, but the pass rush juice just never got there. So that's why he fell to the fourth round. All in all, this draft can be defined by Caleb Downs, and if he can be the all-pro type safety that the league think he can be, I think this will be a home run steal for the draft. And Malachi Lawrence, he can be anything of a double-digit sack guy for the Cowboys. I think it'll be a A+ draft for them in probably 3 years.
Yeah, for them to go back-to-back with Malachi and then Jayshon, they were one of the worst teams in the league as far as defense and getting to the passer as well. The Devin Moore cornerback pick in the fourth round could be something interesting there. But are you concerned with the Caleb Downs, like with the injury? Even though he wasn't often injured, but like there were some concerns there. Go ahead.
I'm not concerned about it. Modern medicine and everything is so far and so advanced. So I'm pretty sure they've done their due diligence. Doctors have signed off on it, and they're going to make sure they're going to take care of him and he's going to have the best care in the world. Like I said, even if you just get if you get Dak. I mean, not Dak, but Caleb Downs. You get him for 4 or 5 years through the rookie deal, and if something happens to where he can't play no more, I think you'll get the best version of Caleb Downs out of those 4 or 5 years. And then if he can get to a second contract, and holding off the injuries, I think that'll be amazing. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about the injury, the whatever it is that's going on that people say that he has going on with his knees.
All right. And we tackled enough with the Cowboys there, right?
Yeah, I'm. I don't like talking about them, boy, because you start talking about them, you got to fight the whole Prince Edward County out here, boy. I ain't, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad nobody came in the comments. Let me go ahead and get up off here, though. Going to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, Lord. The last one. Woo.
In the first round, pick 20, they moved up with their division rivals to select wide receiver Mekhi Lemon out of USC. Damn, Pittsburgh. In the second round, pick 54, they took tight end Eli Stowers out of Stowers? Stowers. Wow, he's saying Stowers. But Stowers out of Vanderbilt. In the third round, pick 68, offensive tackle Markel Bell out of Miami. In the fifth round, pick 178, quarterback Cole Payton out of North Dakota State. Sixth round, pick 207, offensive guard Michael Morris out of Georgia. And 3 seventh-round picks, 244, Cole Wisniewski out of Texas Tech. 251, they took defensive tackle Uar Bernard, which is from he's from Africa. The thing that they do every year with taking the international player.
Yeah, the international pathway program for the players.
Yeah. And then in pick 252 outside linebacker, they took Keyshawn James, newbie out of New Mexico. What you think about the Eagles' strategy moving up and taking Mekhi Lemon here?
Well, so everybody in common sense can tell you we know what this is headed with AJ Brown. So they're just going ahead and get another receiver and get ready to ship him out. You know me, I've been a Mekhi Lemon fan since the draft cycle started with us. I've been a huge Lemon fan. He can play outside, but I think he's primarily going to be in the slot. I believe so. He can definitely play outside. So I'm expecting him to do the lowest work through the middle of the field. And I like Eli Stowers. He's going to be a wide tight end. He could probably be in line a little bit, and he has freakish gifts that you can't teach nobody. So he's going to be an impact player for this offense. And they get Markel Bell in the third round, 6'9" tackle out of Miami. He's a little raw. And he needs some, and they don't have Dante Scarnecchia there anymore. He left the Eagles, which is the offensive line coach. So he definitely would have been a boost to have Markel Bell on his side or be in Markel Bell's ear. And you get Cole Payton. Some people had him as QB3. This draft in the fifth round of North Dakota State. That's very interesting. And the tackle from the program, Uar Bernard, I think he's like 6'4", 250 something. So yeah, there's a raw ball of clay to work with. But typical Eagles draft. Howie being Howie, robbing folks for neglecting the board because apparently Mekhi Lemon was supposed to be on his way to Pittsburgh, but the Eagles jumped Pittsburgh to jump in front of them and take him. So there's a little snaking going on there, but we're gonna see what this draft class can do because I'm interested to see what Cole Payton, how he plays in the preseason. Not saying he's gonna take Jalen Hurts' job, but he might have some potential there to be, a high end backup in the league or either a spot starter for somebody.
Stowers is I was kind of surprised that they did bring Dallas Goedert back.
Yeah, you need a rookie. You need a veteran in that room. So
for sure. And then to get Bell in the third round, which I think it could be like a little bit of a project, in my opinion. And who knows what you're going to get out of Uar Bernard? He could come through and blow it up. And then we're looking at Howie as, hey, Howie does it again. 7th round pick. You see the mass that's on this guy. He could come through and do something. So So
Yep.
the limit could be very special here, but we all know who's at quarterback, and the Eagles had their concerns there. So, yeah, I think we pretty much covered just about everything here with the Eagles. And then you get
Yeah.
some offensive lineman here, So, uh, yeah, overall, you know, everybody did what they had to do to get better. So,
Oh yeah. Everybody feels draft week. You feel like you don't want a Super Bowl and Super Bowl and in the draft cycle, and you should feel better. Every team should feel better, even down to the daggone the the Raiders that had the first pick. You should feel like you're a better football team than you were before April 23rd. You know what I mean? You should feel that way. Even the guys that didn't have first round picks, the Dolphins, the Colts. When we get to the Colts, the Broncos, they got Jalen Waddle. That's the that's the first round wide receiver all day long. So every team got better, man. And like I said when we're talking about the I forgot the first and second team we were saying like, hey man, we're gonna judge these draft classes in 3 years to see how everything really, really, really do shake out, man. But yeah, man, this is exciting draft class. It won't the sexiest draft class. It won't the and I know we got a whole lot more teams talking about. It won't the high end 5-star super duper recruits like we got coming out next year. But there was some solid pieces here in this just class that you can win football games and championships with.
out of the AFC East, who do you feel had the best draft value wise?
Out of the AFC and the NFC East,
Yes.
let me.
I'm going to say the Jets.
I want to say I want to say the AFC East in whole, like the Jets getting 3 starters, um, the Dolphins getting all them players, 12 picks, 6, 7 of them probably gonna start for this team and get some experience. The
They really ain't got no other choice, bro.
yeah, for real. And then the Patriots getting another pass rusher, Gabe Yakas, and getting Lomu to ensure protection for Drake May. And then who we missing? The Bills attacking defense with T.J. Parker and Davison Igbenogson as your first pick, and they're coming back and getting what's my guy named Kilgore in the fourth round, attacking that secondary. So yeah, man, I like what the AFC East did more than I like what the NFC East did in totality because of all the influx in talent, especially the Dolphins. You drafting 12 players. I mean, Rodriguez could have went back in the first round and nobody would have been mad at it. You know what I mean? So, but like I say, the Giants, we know they went and got Reese and Mount Noah. That was, that's a home run in itself right there. If you ask Giants fans, and the Cowboys getting Daniels, that's a home run to them. Lemon being there for the Eagles at 20 was a little surprising. I thought he would have been gone before then, but that's great value. I had him as a top 15 player on my board, and he went at 20, so that's plus value. And then the who I'm missing? Cowboys, Eagles. The Commanders getting that Cyborg and Sonny Styles. I would have loved to see them trade down a little bit, maybe into the teens, recoup a second, recoup a third, so you can fill out this roster and throw more dots at the board to help Jaden Daniels out. So, man, all in all, man, if we look at it that way, I definitely like what the AFC East did a lot more with Omar Cooper, Sadiq, and then the Dolphins doing what they doing than I like what the NFC did in total. So I said AFC East would be.
All right, man. That's about it. We tackled the AFC and the NFC West, NFC East teams. Later, well, not tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna come with the West. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about teams in the West. Your teams in the West, man. We might be here about 3 hours.
And boy, woo, boy, tomorrow, boy. If you got time tomorrow and you ain't got nothing to do after we get off, yeah, it's probably a 3 hour show tomorrow. No, I mean running my mouth though, but yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk about the Rays. I'm excited to talk about the Broncos. Especially for what they did with the little bit of resources they did have. They went and got Jonah Coleman. They got I'm including Jaden Waller in that as their first round pick. So. And then you go get your defensive tackle out of Texas A&M in the third round. So I'm excited to talk about the Broncos and see if they can build off what the success they had last year, coming up probably 4 points short of the Super Bowl. But hey, that's here nor there. That's in the past. They got to start all over and start from ground zero. Oh, and then by the way, for everybody out there, schedule release, is Thursday at 8 o'clock. So they're starting to leak some games out now. So we'll
I
get
hate,
into that.
I
I
hate.
like it though, man. I like it though. We know the opponents to who our favorite teams play, but we don't know when they play, for sure. So we'll probably get a schedule release probably here in the next couple of days. I know my life hectic. I got work. You got work. You married. I'm just whatever. But yeah, man, we just be busy all the time, man. We're definitely going to promise to come, more content a little more often. It's just been a crazy 3 weeks for everybody, so you'll be seeing our faces a little more here soon.
Definitely, and we'll be back tomorrow. Like as we're saying, I mean, as you saying good things about my team and their draft picks. You finally get your franchise quarterback. You get you a safety in the second
And
round.
you still gonna hate those, so it don't even matter.
Hey, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I
That's
don't
the
hate
way.
on y'all. I mean, I don't even hate on y'all like that. I mean, y'all got a quarterback with 2 different leg sizes right there, but they ain't none of my business, so it's whatever.
Yeah, so much to talk about between the AFC and NFC West teams, and we'll be back tomorrow. Man, you got anything before we jet out?
Nah, man, y'all just enjoy y'all night. Larry been on the high right now. The Knicks swept the Sixers, so he ain't been, he done changed his profile picture and everything. I mean, it's something about this blue and orange, man. It's been a good year for the blue and orange. I hope not. I hope it go bad. I hope the orange turn like pink or something. But yeah, man, just the Knicks resting, getting ready for the finals. And we all know y'all gonna play either Pistons or the Cavaliers. So if y'all don't come out the East, boy, you might as well go ahead and I'm gonna be looking for you downtown somewhere, on the corner somewhere. And I'm like, man, let me go scoop them up, put them in the car.
They better win. One of my orange and blue teams, UVA, completely disappointed. Could have been in that. Could have been in that window. Could have been in that window, but you just had to get
I
them
mean, they
back.
did go to the ACC championship this year though, in football. So
To Duke. To Duke.
yeah.
But yeah, man. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Tune in, like, share, subscribe to the channel and everything, and we will see you then.